All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Rhea. Super nice to meet you all. This is my first time in Antwerp. I work in developer relations, and I live in London. It's also my first time speaking at a conference and being at DevOps Days, so a little bit nervous. Go easy on me. Thank you.
I'm Nick. I'm a writer. I know the marketing word scares, but I've always been a writer, 15 years now, even before joining the tech community. And my job is basically write and share knowledge that can help engineering organizations in build, adopt, and scale their internal developer platforms. We are colleagues. We work together. We've been in the platform engineering space a little bit over than 6 years now, which is definitely not enough to consider ourselves experts of anything, but still we will try today to share our little piece of experience with you.
Perfect. So let's get started. Our topic today is platform engineering is not about tech. Now, this is a loaded statement to make, especially in a room filled with developers, platform builders, techies in general, but it's not one we make lightly. What we want to do is just kind of get a view of the room in the beginning. So how many of you know about platform engineering? Okay, great. That's a lot of hands. How many of you are platform engineers yourself? Great. And how many of you are considering building or planning to build your own IDP? Okay, not too many. So for those of you who didn't raise your hand, which is a very, very small number, we'll just go over what platform engineering actually is. From everyone's perspective, I think platform engineering is the art of building or organizing to build an internal developer platform or an IDP, where your developers can have self-service access to the entire lifecycle of their cloud-native applications. So what this basically means is we're trying to improve developer experience by removing any kind of friction or bottlenecks that they may have when it comes to their communication and relationships between different people in the organization. So what we're here to do today is to say that we're trying to remove the focus from platform engineering being about tech, because a recent study by Gartner said that over 70% of platforms are going to fail by 2025 to achieve their desired outcomes. Now, what this basically means is we're not trying to kind of make anyone anxious or nervous about their platforms. What we're trying to do is give everyone, shine a light on a topic that may have been overlooked when you're working on this.
So we want definitely to prevent this type of failure. As Rhea mentioned, it's not about creating anxiety, but is a topic that actually we've been talking and discussing a lot within our team, with customers, in the community itself. There is a lot of discussion on this, and something that we note is that most of the conversation about platform engineering is about features, technology choices, technology adoption, but all the stories that people share with us about failure are never centered, almost never, on technology failures and technology issues. So this is significant for us. Here comes a famous meme you're probably familiar with, and this is a classic argument that can take away a lot of energy, discussion in our organization, in our teams, and it's an important decision to make. And definitely these are questions we want to give an answer to. But what we're trying to say is these decisions go one way or the other is not what will bring a failure, a breaking point of risk, a real problem to our platform initiative. So we highlighted some common pitfalls from the stories, and we clustered 8 common reasons for problems arising in platform teams and in platform initiatives. I want to assure you we don't just see problems, and sometimes we also see platforms succeed, and that's wonderful. And if we have time, it would be nice to maybe go into some real success stories of that by the end of the talk. But let's do the hard part first.
Okay, so getting into the first
Oh,
comment.
sorry, Rhea, one disclaimer. These 8 points, when we read them, they will look all pretty obvious, honestly. Still, they happen a lot. And if we are honest with ourselves, I believe that probably we can relate with them.
Perfect. So the first one that we could take a look at is a lack of a clear mission. So now what tends to happen when companies want to build a platform is that because there are so many multiple challenges that they're dealing with, they tend to pick on one of them and start building a solution to it. What they don't do is kind of prioritize and look into it deeper and try to figure out a clear mission and build a plan before starting to work on their platform. And this often causes issues towards the end because there hasn't been a clear mission as to why we're building this in the first place. The second one is lack of political capital. Now, when your political capital is what helps you evolve your platform, grow your platform, and make it loved among your entire community. When they normally start building a platform, it's normally a very small, nimble team that's working on it, and they normally use it as a minimum viable product. So they have maybe a department head that's looking over the development of this platform. And this is a good strategy to start out with. But over time, when your priorities shift and you want to grow that into something bigger, what ends up happening is people working on the platform tend to be younger employees, newer employees, who lack the connections to people who are able to make the decisions, the key decision makers in the company. And therefore, they don't have enough political capital. And now this can cause issues because you're not able to evolve and grow your platform. Also, there's no mandate in the company for multiple teams to be using this platform. So this is where it affects scalability of the platform as well.
Another very common point is that the platform doesn't match developer expectations. And this typically comes from two different reasons. On one hand, poor and insufficient analysis in the first place. And, okay, this is easy to understand. But the other aspect is misunderstood expectation of what the platform was going to achieve. So wrong communication, maybe creating a false excessive expectation that the platform will do any magic and will solve a lot of problems. So that can cause a frustration in return at the moment of rollout. And another cause is internal competition. Again, also here I believe there are different aspects to this. So on one hand, as engineering teams, if we're honest, probably we think we know better than others how to do our own stuff, or sometimes we just want some stuff to be done our way. But also, and this is very common in large organizations, it's frequent that different teams in different parts of the organization are building different capabilities and developer tools in perfectly good faith, but that may have some overlap and some duplication. And so at some point, you will need to understand how you can solve and reconcile this duplication and this internal competition.
The next most common platform pitfall we've seen is maintaining the balance between freedom and standardization, and also the balance between continuous innovation and stability. I think that if you're trying to make your platform grow enough that it becomes, it has internal product market fit within your organization, it's very important to maintain this delicate balance between continuously innovating but also finding stability in your platform. And the next one is maintenance costs. I think that what most people don't realize is that when you're building a platform and you're working on these cloud-native technologies, avoiding your cloud-native technology becoming tomorrow's legacy is quite difficult. It means you have to continuously adapt and you have to keep adding to the technologies as they change. And this comes at a very high cost. I think what most people don't realize is that it's easy to start building a platform, but towards the end, maintaining it is the extra cost that you have to endure.
And here we arrive to the things that ultimately we see more than anything can kill the platform initiative. So not just cause problem, but cause problems that may determine the future of the platform itself. One we touched slightly before and is poor internal communication skills. So the ability to generate the curiosity and the interest for people to get and try our platform in the first place, understand what is meant to achieve, how it can be used to enable their outcomes. Because imposing things, technologies, tools by brute force, you tell me in general, is not a great start and doesn't deliver the best outcomes. So we need to get a way to get the people excited about our platform, spontaneously embrace it and try to prove it, and from there grow the adoption. And this is difficult because it touches an important aspect of platform initiatives, that is, we are impacting the way people are working in their everyday life, and we're doing this for a large variety of stakeholders typically. And this is one of the most difficult things to do in tech, and not just in tech, because people form habits for very good reasons. It makes them productive, efficient, less stressed, so it makes them work with a flow. So asking people to change their habits is really difficult, and we are not always prepared as platform teams to deal with this type of change management effort.
So what we can see from here is that our platform engineering teams are great at building software. They're very good at dealing with new technological challenges that may come up with innovation. The problem doesn't lie in the technology. What we also see is that sometimes our platform engineering teams are a little less talented in some of the other aspects that are needed to have a digital product, such as marketing, user experience design, digital product management, etc.
So basically, in the end, what we are trying to say here, if we go back to the Agile Manifesto, is that we need to look at people and interactions first. Platforms, maybe we can hear from a software engineering team, I don't ever want to have to deal with the cloud operations team anymore, and the platform will help me achieve this. But that is not the reality. Platforms don't remove interactions between people, between organizations. Platforms try to reduce the friction by streamlining the interactions. So interactions are a crucial space to produce value within our organizations. This was already mentioned earlier this morning by Manuel, so I will go quick on this, but it highlights the influence that organizational design can have on software system design. And we can look at this, I believe, also by a reverse perspective. So if we want to achieve a specific target architecture that we have in mind, that we are planning and designing for, we need also to think about the communication and organizational structure of our teams, and the way how people are going to interact in our organization, and this can help us achieve that architectural design. So the first takeaway for us is these two things are strongly connected. You know, when we say the hardest thing in tech is culture, in platform engineering, we believe this is particularly real and essential. Here comes a famous Reddit thread. I don't know if you have read it before. There's a huge number of comments. It's been going around for a while, and there are a lot of similarities. It's pretty funny and very instructive, I believe, and it's just one case of hundreds for sure. But I think it brings us to a key point in our discussion, that even if we as platform engineers, heads of platform initiative, platform teams, think night and day about our platform and are fully committed to it and look at it from all angles and try to make it great, the rest of the people in our organization don't really care so much about our platform per se. They have different problems they're trying to cope with. They are looking at their priorities, they're looking at their mission, their objectives, the value they need to, and they want to bring to their customers, to the organization as a whole. And so we need to keep in mind that we are not trying to enable a platform or a technology. We are trying to enable these people to get to their goals, to their outcomes.
So understanding this, we can see that it's not a technology problem, right? The problem is adoption at scale. The problem is creating a platform that multiple teams will want to use and they don't have to be convinced or forced to use it. So in the end, what we're trying to do is make our platforms lovable. Now, we can't unfortunately get into all of the success stories that we have at hand to discuss, but we can maybe discuss that in the lunch break. But what we've done is we've put together some hints and helpful tips and tricks to help you make your platforms more lovable. So let's take a look at the first one, which is treat your platform like a product. Give your platform a name, and most importantly, have a platform owner. I think these are some of the things that help the entire team treat it as an actual product. The second would be to build a business case first. This is something we already covered, which is about having a mission statement before you start building your platform. Continue to use the minimum viable product approach. I think this has been covered a lot and is kind of something that's super important. And then is to focus on your users' needs. In the end, you're building this platform for your developer experience, and this means that you need to know the ins and outs of what your developer and all of your users actually need. Design for people and teams interaction. Always remember that you're not building this platform for one single individual. You're building it for a group of people, and you're building it for the communication that is going to take place between that group of people working together in a team. And therefore, this brings me to my next point, which is invest in your internal communication. We've seen already that this is a problem that kind of stems around the fact that there isn't enough communication, and that's what can lead us to proper adoptability of this. The next is to maintain a thinnest viable platform. Now, keeping your platform maintainable is extremely important. I think what we need to do is first take a look at what is a commodity, which means that's something you can buy and use, versus something that's so unique to your platform that you need to build it yourself. And maintaining the balance between these two is extremely important. And always remember, the more that you're building yourself, that's you increasing your cost of maintaining it in the future. So try to buy as much as possible. And then, of course, measure your impact and keep iterating, because without having clear, measurable goals, you're not going to be able to achieve the results you expect to achieve.
So we're at the end of this talk and close to lunch. So get prepared for it. We just wanted, in general, to give a thank you and shout out to the community who is in this period really vibrant and producing a lot of material and shared knowledge of the things that we are trying to understand all together in this platform space. And again, we're just looking at the tip of the iceberg, so really curious to see what's going to happen in the coming years. This is also a little bit embarrassing because some of these people are in the room. We hope we didn't get too much things wrong. But again, we believe it's a community effort, and continuously sharing what we're learning with each other will help us grow on this path. We want to summarize the key takeaways from this talk. We've seen that building a platform is not difficult. Making a platform successful is hard because it means we are trying to impact the way a lot of people with different goals and different skills and different objectives are trying to achieve in their everyday work. And this is pretty difficult, and we are not always prepared to deal with this as engineering teams. We don't want to build a platform per se. We want to enable outcomes. We want to enable developers. We need to treat it as a product, as Rhea was saying, and starting from measurability and analyzing the impact and being able, through that measurement, to create a narrative around our platform that makes self-evident what value the platform is bringing to the organization, and a feedback loop to help continuously improve and grow the platform itself and the adoption of the platform and the value in the organization. That's it. I think we're good in time, good for lunch. We super appreciate any feedback you may have, any experience you would like to say, any question, and of course, we're here around the next 2 days. So
Thank you.
thank you.